Yeah. I love my HBCU. And boy, I love it, love it. I love it, love it. I love my HBCU. And man, I hope my team they won one. Yeah. I hope my team they won one. Yeah. Man, I hope my team they won one. I hope my team they won one. Yeah. I tune into the HBCU Sports Lab to see if my team won or lost. If they lost, I'm quiet as a mouse. But if they won, keep tab. I'ma do the dab, yeah. Dr. Cavil, he know what he be talking about. Mike and Charles, they know what they be talking about. They compress the analytic data with the hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they won or lost, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gonna teach a lesson.
This is Dr. Cavil with Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington, Charles Bishop. I'm trying to get like Mike Washington. I'm out on assignment. I'm here in Baltimore, but we do have Charles Bishop along with AD Drew. So we're gonna give you a wonderful show. So welcome to episode 711 of Inside the HBCU Sports Lab radio show. And that's not the 7-Eleven convenience store that many of you may know, but it's a 7-Eleven in terms of our show podcast. The show that's covering the sporting HBCU dash for all things HBCU sports for institutions large and small, from the NEIA to the NCAA. We share insights and information on the HBCU sports culture, HBCU athletic aesthetics to facilitate the story of HBCU athletic programs and the business of HBCU sports. I'm your host, Dr. Cavil, along with my co-host, Charles Bishop, along with Mike Washington. We're going to push him to the second today, maybe third, because we're going to let AD Drew jump in here as well. We're filming from our home studios in Signal Live, the KCUH 1230 AM studios with the Texas Radio Hall of Famer, multi-Hall of Famer Ralph Cooper. And I am on the road in the beautiful city of Baltimore, home of Morgan State, Coppin State, just down the street a little bit in the county area. Bowie State Bulldogs as well. With that being said, let me bring on our co-host today, which is Charles Bishop and AD Drew. As we're doing that, let me say today's episode of Inside the HBCU Sports Lab is sponsored by THG Agency. THG Agency is a company that provides sporting, educational consulting, and the data analytics. As we start to get in here with some of the business, if you would, of HBCU sports, trying to get going with some of these connections, you have to work with us a little bit in terms of how we try to get it done, since we're working on those processes. But as we're doing that, I did want to start out with a little bit of the news of the day from my perspective in terms of what's going on here. We'll let Charles get in here and do some of these weekly honors. We'll look AD and see where he wants to go with it. But we do have some matchups, particularly from a SWAC perspective, that we have going on, which is Edward Waters at Bethune-Cookman, Lane at Alabama A&M, and you have East Texas A&M at Grambling State. You have Northwestern State at Prairie View A&M, and next week we have a week off as we get into the battle of some of those rivalries coming down. But with that being said, Charles, we know what your thoughts of the day are.
Yeah, let's take a look at some of these SWAC football weekly honors for this past week of last week's action. As the SWAC has tabbed Alabama A&M's Cornelius Brown and Victor Barbosa, Alabama State's Andrew Body, Florida A&M's Jamil Sanders, Jackson State's Jarrett Lockhart, and Arkansas Pine Bluff's Jalen Jennings for SWAC football weekly honors. Let's take a look at the co-offensive players of the week, because Cornelius Brown earned back-to-back weekly conference honors as he went 21 of 33 for 329 yards and 2 touchdowns. And Alabama A&M's 23-21 come from behind victory over Tennessee State to win the inaugural Legacy Series on last Saturday. He had touchdown passes of 5 and 30 yards. The other co-offensive player of the week, Andrew Body, put on a near perfect showing of Alabama State against Miles, completed 14 of 16 passes for 251 yards and 4 touchdowns last week, Dr. Cavil, while connecting with 3 different receivers. Defensive player of the week was Jamil Sanders from FAMU. He filled the stat sheet 6 tackles, 4 solo, and 2 assists, 1 sack, 2 tackles for a loss, A pass breakup and a partridge at a pear tree as Jamil Sanders, SWAC Defensive Player of the Week. Specials of the week was Victor Barbosa. He won 3 of 3 field goal attempts as Alabama A&M defeated Tennessee State in the inaugural Legacy Series, 23-21. He connected on 2 field goals of 26 yards in the first half and then booted the game winner, a 45-yard field goal late in the third quarter. The other co-newcomer of the week was Jared Lockhart from Jackson State, completed 15 of 21 passes, 254 yards. He added a 21-yard touchdown pass in the second quarter. Also added 44 yards on the ground on 12 carries on a pair of touchdowns in his first collegiate start in Jackson State's 30-0 victory over Tuskegee. And the other co-newcomer of the week is Arkansas Pine Bluff's Jalen Jennings, 226 yards on the ground, including 4 rushing touchdowns as Pine Bluff got the 34-8 win over Lincoln of California. The Oaklanders, you will see them a lot in the SWAC this upcoming season for homecoming. So those are your players of the week.
They the homecoming team of choice this season.
And a homecoming near you.
Yeah.
And a homecoming near you. I
Get
like
used to that roster. Yes, they're coming to a homecoming near you.
Good stuff. Good stuff. I know questions out there how the crab cakes taste. I don't know yet, but I certainly will let you know on Sunday because I plan to go out after this show and get some of that famous Baltimore crab cakes. And we'll see what else we can get into. Maybe even some crabs. That being said, Drew, what's on your mind for the HBCU news of the week?
First of all, we're going to start off with turn the channel, but turn the volume down. As Tuskegee and Benedict are battling on HBCU Plus right now. 11 minutes ago, no score in the first quarter. Let's get that out the way. Got to get my mandatory SIAC mention out the way. You know, I know when my bread is buttered, so I got to get my mandatory SIAC mention out the way. Now, Charles, look like the SWAC went MEAC-ish on their players of the week. You know, you get a player of the week, and you get a player of the week, and you get a player of the week. There's a lot of Coles out there. So the MEAC did not have all the Coles. So let's go down to MEAC. MEAC announces their weekly football honors. Start off with North Carolina quarterback Walker Harris has been selected the MEAC Offensive Player of the Week. Teammate Thomas Johnson earned the Defensive Player of the Week, while Mason Pickett Hicks of South Carolina State was the Rookie of the Week. South Carolina State teammates Roger Smith was named the Offensive Lineman of the Week, and Nico Camvanilius Alti was recognized as a specialist of the week. So we just got 2 schools we got to talk about here. Let's start with Harris, 6'1", 195-pound quarterback, completed 23 of 36 passes for 387 yards, including longer 63 and 3 tutties. That's touchdowns for y'all who don't understand football lingo. And the Central win over
a couple of weeks ago.
Cavil State.
Almost knocked me out of here. Go ahead.
If Mike wanted to knock somebody out, he need to be here. Moving on down the line, Johnson, a 6'3" defensive lineman, tallied 5 solo tackles, including 2 TFLs, that's tackle for loss, 2 sacks for a loss. Sidebar. I didn't know a sack could not be for anything but a loss, but they put it in here, so I'm just reading it as it is, including 2 sacks for a loss for 18 yards in the Eagles. He has now recorded at least 1 sack in 4 straight games. Smith, a 6'4" offensive lineman, graded out at 90% on all blocking assignments, paving the way for South Carolina State's count on 561 yards of offense, 226 on the ground, 335 through the air. And he registered 7 pancake blocks and did not allow a sack in the Bulldogs' win over Bethune-Cookman. Pickett Hicks, 5'8", 162 pound freshman, led the Bulldogs with 87 yards on the ground and 1 touchdown, highlighted by a 69-yard scoring run. That's how I want my 69s, y'all, on a touchdown, baby, in Bethune's win. And Canvas,
did you say 7 pancake blocks?
Yeah, all Tilly was perfect on a special teams, connecting on all 7 PATs, along with 2 field goals for 41 and 44 yards.
Dr. Cavil, breaking news: Benedict has been scored upon this year now.
Already?
I mean, a highlight-worthy catch from Tuskegee. They went up in the air and grabbed that one for a touchdown.
Who caught that touchdown?
I got the volume down low, so
I can tell you number 2.
Number 2.
It was number 2.
Indeed.
It was number 2.
I'm guessing what Hall, EJ Hall.
Hall.
Yes, indeed.
Yes, indeed. Number 2.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to Emmett Jones making fun of me with these crab cakes. You know, I'm gonna get it on. I'm gonna get some of the crab claws, crabs as well. I'm finna go hog heaven, as they say in a lot of parts of the country. But with that being said, I want to go back to these 7 pancakes as Charles gives us updates as we go. And not only was that, I knew when he broke the face twice. First it was on the pancakes, then it was on the touchdown kick. Go ahead. What made you get a look for the pancakes?
I mean, it's one of those stats that I love seeing it, and you done had a hell of a day if you don't pancake somebody sometime. I mean, that's a long day at the office. Like, come on, coach. Can we start?
Mike would be going into town. He loves that kind of stuff.
Yes, indeed.
Let me get into some of these attendances, and some of them we'll talk about in terms of with the Power 5, if you would, Power 4. Now, you know, as I like to break it down, the Super 2 and the Power 2. Alcorn State at Mississippi State, 49,158. Norfolk State at Rutgers, 41,000. Southern versus Fresno State, 37,210. Morgan State at Toledo, 22,846. Prairie View at Rice, 22,260. Jackson State versus Tuskegee, that's Tuskegee at Jackson State, 18,642. Alabama State versus Miles, 18,101. Howard versus Morehouse, a little bit shocking here for me when I first saw it, 16,248. North Carolina A&T and Hampton, 15,806. That was Hampton traveling to North Carolina A&T.
Healthy.
And then Albany State traveling to FAMU is 14,370. Let me go to you. As we were pushing Jackson State from that first weekend, this is closer to what I could imagine in terms of a team that is championship level coming back off of that. And it's fascinating. The one Hampton that's FCS level that people may have had some questions with didn't quite get it, but Tuskegee, mid-majors, we like to call them, obviously rich program, a lot of history, shorter drives, so a lot more of their fans probably showed up as well. But what are your thoughts in terms of the crowd part?
Yeah, well, I think Jackson State getting a little bit closer to what they like seeing in terms of, like you mentioned, mid-major team, Tuskegee coming in, but a good, healthy crowd there for the W.C. Gordon Classic. But it's I'm taking a look at the other games. You know, the Alabama State beat Miles, 18,000. Howard, Morehouse. That one was the one that when I looked at this, it kind of surprised me because you've had a good, healthy crowd up there in the Northeast playing in Boston and New York. So that one kind of caught me a little off guard. But good, healthy crowd for A&T and Hampton. So these numbers, we'll see where they start to go, but it's television. I think is having an impact as well. I think you're having a lot of watch parties going on. I know Jackson State had a huge watch party over here in Houston for those that didn't make it back to Jackson, but you're starting to see that quite a bit in terms of these big alumni bases in terms of Dallas with their alumni, Houston. As well as around the country having huge watch parties watching their various teams.
That's a good point when you talk about the watch party and how that has really picked up. And now we have ways to even measure it more in terms of your total live attendance. So it's going to be fascinating to kind of see what that looks like in terms of that. I want to push forward. Usually we'll take a break here But let's move on. I want to get into the band rankings were released. So we had HBCU Division II, what we refer to as the mid-major. Obviously, when we talk about the mid-major, we include the NIA programs, and so does HBCU when we talk about the Division II from this perspective of the bands. They include both NCAA Division II and NAIA. This is the Red Lobster Band of the Year rankings. September 25th, this is when it gets a little interesting here. HBCU Division II bands wasted no time making statements. The Virginia State University Trojans are out there. But you know, I like to give a little love from the bottom to the top. So we'll talk about that as well. When you talk about, let's get in these top fives, and I'll point out maybe a couple of ones that are outside of top five. You can tell me where you think concerns or why they may change. But the number 5 coming out the box, a little different here, Elizabeth City State University, Sound of Class. They're in the 5th spot, and they have the points out here associated with, which is 249.90. It's what they come in with this release at. Number 4, Miles College, Purple Marching Machine, 267.15. That probably doesn't surprise a lot of people with Miles being in the top 5, maybe where they are. Number 3, you have Albany State, the Marching Ram Show Band, 276.25 in the 3rd spot. In the 2nd spot is Fayetteville State University, the Marching Broncos Express, MBX, as they are also known as. That's 280.55. And number 1, coming out of the box, is Virginia State.
Trojan Explosion, yeah.
287.95. You know, they've been in the mix for a championship, and they certainly start out the right way to probably grab what they believe is theirs, rightfully so, which would be a Band of the Year championship at the Division II level. Again, let me go over that and get your thoughts on this. Number 5, Elizabeth City State, Sound of Class. Number 4 is Miles College, Purple Marching Machine. Number 3 is Albany State, the Marching Ram Show Band. And number 2, Fayetteville State University, Marching Broncos Express, MBX. And number 1 for this early ranking, Virginia State, the Trojan Explosion. What are your thoughts from a Division II perspective? In terms of
had a great opportunity to watch the Trojan Explosion. I mean, they're a tremendous band. No surprise that they start things off in terms of the D2 rankings up there at number 1. Miles, I expect to get even better during the course of the year. Tremendous band. A band that I got an opportunity to watch this past weekend that didn't sound as though they were in the top 5, but I was extremely impressed by them was the Crimson Pipers, Tuskegee.
Yeah, not in the top 5, but they are in the top 10.
Okay.
They're at number 7 coming into this, so I'm glad you brought that up in terms of what that looks like. Drew, as you jump back in here, we decided to push past that first segment.
Yeah,
so
I was still listening to you guys. I just had to go offline because I got one of them phone calls. One of them house calls, like a Morehouse call.
Hey, it's real talk. I knew it was business when you had to jump off.
And matter of fact, I got to jump again. Keep going, Doc.
All right. 5 is Elizabeth City State, Sound of Class. Miles, Purple Marching Machine in the 4th spot. Number 3 is Albany State. Number 2 is Marching Broncos and Virginia State. Trojan Explosion, as he said. When he gets back, we'll let him talk about that. But let's go now, Charles, to yourself. Let's go with the Division I, which we call the major division. See where your thoughts are. This is always intriguing. As of late, the SWAC has not been able to shake it, if you would. So there are a lot of folks in the SWAC country that are amazed. They just don't understand it. It used to be football with the East Coast bias for the years. I don't know what you call the band framework because they probably got a word. I don't even know if we can share those words on television in terms of what we hear. But let me give you the top 5.
I knew the rankings came out today because my phone just blew up out of nowhere. And I was like, what?
Pick it up, they still blow it up. Huh?
Yeah, okay.
Well, I will say this. There's no Texas program in the top 5. There is no Mississippi program in the top 5. There is a Louisiana program in the top 5.
Oh, yeah.
There's a Florida program in the top 5. No Alabama program in the top 5. So, number 5, Norfolk State, Spartan Legion, 284. Now, a lot of folks have heard about Norfolk State, the Spartan Legion.
Hey.
They become a darling, and certainly, inarguably, anybody's framework will have a top 10. I think that's without a question. Many people do push them in the top 5. I'm just talking about overall, not according to this ranking, but they're number 5 coming into the spot. Number 4, last year's champion, staying in the mix, Florida A&M, the marching 100, 286.55. So, and this is a little closer than what we've seen in the mid-major or Division II framing. 4 and 5 are just separated by 2 points, less than 2 points, I should say. Then you have it, the 3rd spot stays in Florida, Bethune-Cookman Wildcats, marching Wildcats, 293. So you get a little jump here in terms of separation from that 4th spot in the 5 spot. Then you get some major separation, in my opinion. Southern in the 2nd spot, Human Jukebox come in at 299.7. And North Carolina A&T, the blue and gold marching machine, 305.7. They have the formula. Whatever the formula is, they understand it, and they play and target towards the formula. Exactly. And obviously, they do it well.
Yes.
Now, this may not be other people's formula.
Right.
But they do that. And shout out to Eric Sanders with the updates. Appreciate you sharing that. Keep that going. And so as we got Drew back in here, let me give you this top 5 and get your thoughts on this. I'm going to start with you, Charles, and then I'm going to go to Drew to get his thoughts. Number 5, Norfolk State, the Spartan Legions. Number 4, Florida A&M, the marching 100. Number 3, Bethune-Cookman, marching Wildcats. Number 2, Southern, Human Jukebox. Number 1, North Carolina A&T. That is the blue and gold marching machine. Charles, let me get in some trouble early for the show. Or maybe you might get a lot of love. Let's see what direction you go in terms of your thoughts on this top 5.
I'm not going to be a homer. I'll just say there's a people's champ right now, according to a lot of band heads who I trust that is not in the top 5. But I think you make a great point, Dr. Cavil. The formula, musicality, drill and design, percussion, auxiliaries, the drum majors, North Carolina A&T has the formula down pat for this band rankings. And they are a worthy band. They're a heck of a band. The jukebox, the juke looks like they're back. You'll get some pushback.
Like they figured it out a little bit too.
Yeah, they're trying to figure it out. Bethune-Cookman, tremendous band. FAMU, another tremendous band. And I had an opportunity to watch the Spartan Legion this past weekend. That was a phenomenal show. So Norfolk State, tremendous band with the Spartan Legion. But yeah, my phone blew up for a reason because it's, the band head community is a little different, and they have some issue with this top 5. So I put it that way.
Drew, what are your thoughts on the top 5?
Is there a Russian judge on this panel? Yeah, it just, and I'm supposed to sound like the Jackson State apologist, and that don't happen with me too often, but it just don't look right for Jackson State not to be in at least in the money in the running. But when you look at the other bands that's up there, I mean, you can't knock the other bands. It just looks weird not to see Jackson State up there. And probably the surprise to a lot of people is that is the marching Wildcats. But I'm here to tell you, as somebody who has seen the marching Wildcats, they are probably one of the unsung bands that are out there. So
Absolutely.
you know, a lot of people would say Jackson State should be where Bethune-Cookman is, but I understand why Bethune-Cookman is in the mix.
Well, he comments, wow, boy. I see you, Dr.
I
Terry.
agree with Bethune-Cookman. And one of the reasons people don't know about Bethune-Cookman, outside of the fact that obviously it wasn't too recent that they joined the SWAC, and there wasn't a lot of games they played against SWAC opponents over the years. But they don't travel now that they're in the SWAC. And my understanding, they didn't travel much in the MEAC. So I think it's hard to extend your fan base when you don't travel. A lot of people respect Jackson State. And part of that is a lot of people have saw them because they had traveled quite a bit, in terms of their matchup. And obviously it's around the SWAC. But to their credit, not everybody in the SWAC even travels, particularly when you're talking about those bands on the outer limits of the conference. The ones in the center are the ones that a lot of people recognize as great bands, including Alcorn for that matter. They tend to travel to 3 or 4 schools within the conference, if not more. And Jackson State and Southern, they travel all the time. So there is a fans champ, as you talked about, in the connection. But let me give you this. I think for context, I think it's important for those, and people may not really want to hear this, but at least in terms of this ranking, to put this out there, the key components, categories to watch as you're looking at this is the musicality is a category. Drill and design. I think it's probably hard. You have to be a real aficionado band really to get into the musicality, because good sound for most folks just sounds good.
Right.
You have affinity to your band, but I think there's some certain things, if you're within that culture, deeply embedded, or even more so trained at it, because these are folks that have studied, have at least a degree. Many of them have multiple degrees in this area and trained at various institutions. I said about the drill and design, many of us see that, and you can see when somebody is outside of it or not doing the lifts or whatever particular style of band has. The other one is percussion. And fascinating what people see about percussions. And I wonder how much of that is featured percussions. A lot of people have percussions, but some over the years people have like to feature that. That's one thing Prairie View for a long time was known for. They had the box.
Feature the box, right?
Now it looks like they come back with some of those. And auxiliaries. And so let me break down in terms of who are rated high in these areas. Musicality is North Carolina A&T, Southern and FAMU. Lead the way in tone, blend, and execution. And so for those that are familiar with that, those are the ones who scored high in that area. Drill and design was Bethune-Cookman's Marching Wildcats, top the category thanks to their sharp formations and precision. So folks that want to look at this and maybe being a little more open, these are some things that you want to think about. Percussion, A&T once again led, backed by a strong drum line, while Southern and Prairie View impressed as well in terms of that category. And auxiliary is Southern, Dancing Dolls, North Carolina A&T's Golden Delight, and Texas Southern Motion of the Ocean also scoring high in these areas. And just to give you a little more in terms of the major division, it's, obviously a lot of folks are asking about the Sonic Boom of the South. They are ranked 8th coming in this, 273 points, 0.60. Just outside of the top 5, Texas Southern, Ocean of Soul. A lot of folks have ranked Texas Southern, Norfolk State. They have shot up the charts in terms of people really excited what they bring to the table. When you do get the band matches, it's intriguing there. Who said they tied time this word? Interesting. And that is a former drum major right here, G. Boone, when he brings that up. So I'm going to defer to him in a lot of ways what that looks
Why is my phone blowing up right now?
Number 7, Washington Storm, 278-65. That's why I'm sticking this out a little bit so you can get the punishment. As if you the one that are actually grading this. 9 is actually Alabama State. They're marching on Hornets, and 10 Grambling State. They do listed the 15. I won't even get into those 15. You can go check it out on HBCU Game Day to get the breakdown of the top 10 for the Division II, what we call the mid-major level, and major level Division I. It actually goes to the top 15 scoring. So with that being said, let's take our second break. When we do take our second break, this is actually going to be the first break of the show, as we had an extended first segment where we covered 2 different areas. We'll come back on the other side. We're going to get into some of these matchups. Major division, mid-major division, we might mix it around. So as we move up and down the chart, work with us if we decide to shift things. But with that being said, let's take this break and come back on the other side and get back into some of these matchups, some games to watch this weekend. Charles on the other side, give us an update. I know the last thing that flashed, we had a 7-7 score between Benedict and Tuskegee. On the other side, we will give you that update. Stick with us. Be right back after this.
Football fans, the Cricket Celebration Bowl is celebrating 10 years of crowning an HBCU national champion. A champion will rise at Mercedes-Benz Stadium on December 13th as the MEAC and SWAC champions clash in Atlanta. Join us for championship football, interactive fan experiences, and iconic marching bands. It's an HBCU family reunion that you don't want to miss. See who will be crowned the next HBCU national champion. For event and ticket information, visit thecelebrationbowl.com.
For over 30 years, HBCU Image has been more than just an apparel store. We've been a movement, a statement, a legacy. We celebrate the pride, the purpose, and the culture that make historically black colleges and universities legendary. Whether you're a student or a lifelong supporter, our gear lets you wear your HBCU story with confidence and style. Because when you wear HBCU Image, you're not just wearing clothes. You're wearing culture. You're wearing pride. You're wearing purpose. HBCU.
With over 25 years of serving our communities, Destiny Financial Services, a division of Global Life, is here to help you and your family through difficult times. From cancer care to accidental industries to cardiac care, we all know that there are times that you can't control what happens in your life, but you can be prepared to weather the storm when it comes. Call DFS at 877-300-8269 or visit the website at www.globelifeinsurance.com. That is 877-300-8269, or again, the website at www.globelifeinsurance.com.
ESPN Events presents Red Lobster Band of the Year, a title reserved for elite HBCU marching bands. A season-long competition that culminates in Atlanta on Friday, December 12th. Drum majors, percussion, drill, auxiliaries, musicality. All aspects will be examined by the toughest judges in the world of college bands. 4 will qualify for the big stage, where national champions will be crowned. Follow us on social media for rankings updates throughout the season. And join us in Atlanta on December 12th. For event and ticket information, visit bandoftheyear.com.
Compress the analytic data with your hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they wanna lose, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
This is Dr. Cavil with Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Charles Bishop and AD Drew. We're going to jump into some of these matchups. Let's pull out matchups, if you would, in terms of the games of the week. And we're going to go with the rivalry games. These are fascinating to me because, one, MEAC doesn't necessarily have the in-state or border type old rivalries like you see in the SWAC. They do have their rivalries, but they happen to be now interconference rivalries with these in-state rivals being split, if you would, between two loyalties and two different conferences. And then we'll look at a second rivalry, the Battle of HU, and obviously they're not in-state rivalries, but they are rivalries the same for various different reasons, but now they're interconference rivalries. So we have the MEAC facing the CIAA. MEAC has gotten a couple of wins there, but not a lot. But this is a chance where they can really double down, not only beat up on your rivalry, but get that matchup, if you would, from that perspective. So the first one we're looking at here is a top 7 match in terms of North Carolina Central. They take that number 4 ranking on the road. They're 2-0 at North Carolina A&T State Aggies that are 1-2, 1-0. They got their big win, their first Division I win, and doubled down with that. And it was also a conference win in terms of the CAA. With that being said, Central has taken the 2 Aggies of late, particularly last year at home where they really beat up on the Aggies and really kind of created that winding down, if you would, with the Aggies, were ultimately in many ways beyond that game. And I'm sure it was a culmination of that where they let go of their coach and bringing in a new coach in terms of this matchup. These 2 head coaches happen to be friends, coaching colleagues, coach each other, have major respect for each other, but certainly will be representing their institution in this matchup. With that being said, AD Drew, give me a little thoughts in terms of where we are with this rivalry game between the Eagles and the Aggies.
Obviously, the Eagles are going to come in as the heavy favorites in this particular matchup, but you have a A&T team who's coming in, excuse me, with a little bit of confidence, having picked up their first win against an FCS opponent in almost 2 years. I won't say over 2 years, not quite 2 years. So confidence at home gotta bode well for the Aggies in this situation. Now, I'm going to tell you one thing: do not be on the lookout for in this particular ball game, everybody, is defense. This will probably be an E-fence game, no D. E-fence. Because both of these teams give up a lot of yards, a lot of chunk plays. So we're going to see what this team could do. Because even when you think about when we go back to the MEAC SWAC Challenge, Central gave up a lot of chunk plays to Southern, but their defense would bend and not break. So we're going to see if A&T is ready to contend, or is the only team that they can beat is their brethren within their conference.
Good point. Charles, where are you going with this matchup?
Yeah, I do agree with you, AD, in regards to I think it will be a high-scoring game because both of these teams defensively, we haven't seen it as of yet. But that was something I think to A&T fighting back in the fourth quarter last week. I think that was huge for their psyche in terms of coming back in the fourth quarter and getting that win. But I think the big key for me is, can they get to Walker Harris? I mean, he almost threw for 400 yards last week, National HBCU Player of the Week. And then North Carolina Central, they have a good balanced attack. They went for 116 yards on the ground last week, in addition to Walker Harris going nuts from the quarterback position. So, can you get Walker Harris on the ground? And I think that's the big thing for North Carolina A&T. For that reason, I got to go with the Eagles in this. I think they're the more talented squad, but I think this is going to be a fun one in Greensboro for a while, and it's going to go, I think, deep into the second half before North Carolina Central starts to pull away.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Let's go to this second.
Doc, you got an update on the Tuskegee Benedict game before you move on to your next one.
Please do. Go ahead.
14. This is courtesy of Eric. 14-7 Tuskegee. E.J. Hall looks like he scored another touchdown.
He did. Mm-hmm.
Hey. You see, Charles, I was supposed to bring that back with you. I apologize.
It's all good.
Drew made sure.
Right.
Like, man, y'all, you're not right. You're not right. Give us some love. You're right. You're right. Make sure we get the love out there. Thank you for the update, both of you all. Let's go to this. Let's go to the other matchup, if you would. Slide down and let's get into this. How do I have the Howard Hampton matchup in there? I may not have put it up there. Yeah,
There we go.
Yeah, let's go there since we're staying with that MEAC. This one, while it's a neutral site, Audi Stadium, you still have it as a MEAC, CAA. In that way, in a lot of ways, Howard is considered the home team. But Hampton Pirates coming in 1-2, 0-1, really probably frustrated in terms of how they lost last week in terms of the last minute. Interesting to you for a lot of Howard fans last year, they felt they had it until the last minute. So you got that kind of mix. If you look at teams outside of the poll, top 7, you have Howard essentially receiving votes, basically in the 9th spot, if you would. They're 2-1. So, Charles, sticking with you, what are your thoughts in terms of this Howard Hampton? Can Howard finally get over the hump? Can they find a way to get it done? I think in a lot of ways, the Pirates seem bruised. So this is when you think you can do it. But just when you think a team like Bison can get it done, Pirates say not so fast. Where are you with this matchup?
Yeah, if not now, when for Howard? I mean, they dropped 8
not this century.
But I think the key to this one is quarterback play. Tariq starts. I mean, I think he got it up and going against Morehouse last week, 241 yards through the air. So I'm looking for Howard to try to get things up and going offensively. But I think out of these two teams, they have the better defense. And I think that's going to be kind of the big thing. Can they slow down Isaiah Freeman, dual threat quarterback from Hampton, and a big kid? You got to be able to bring him down. He was able to escape a few sacks against Jackson State. But I'm going to go with Howard in this one. I think Hampton's a little bit bloodied and bruised, and I think Howard will take advantage of it.
Drew, what are your thoughts? I like that point you made there.
First of all,
got a ball for pounding on Morehouse without a minute left.
You know I co-sign on that one, Steve. You know I'm going to co-sign on that.
I can see why. Go ahead.
And Steve added the asterisk to it, especially when Larry Scott complained when Rutgers doing the same thing to him. You know, what goes around comes around. So we're gonna talk about that. But let's talk about this game, Dr. Cavil. You've got a Howard team who defeated a underwhelming Florida A&M team and a Morehouse. Hell, I can't put an adjective on it because I got to protect my once a month. They defeated Morehouse. Against a Hampton Pirates team that has not performed up to expectations. So what does that tell me? Charles, well, we may have 100 points combined in the previous game that we talked about. If we get to 40 points combined in this game, we're gonna be looking for a good game. Howard, it's gonna be about that run game. Can Howard establish their run game? Hampton, can Hampton get any type of quarterback play? They call this a neutral site, Dr. Cavil.
Yes.
How do you call this a neutral site when you still don't have to leave your own city though? You might not be playing in your stadium, but you haven't had to leave your own city for this game for the 4th consecutive year. So you hope that the Howard faithful show up to this game in Audi Field. I'm gonna lean towards the Bison, but it's Howard Hampton, and Hampton always finds a way to pull this crap out, man. And so it is what it is, but I'm leaning Howard.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Let's go back to that SIAC SWAC game. Well, I'll take that back. Let's go to the non-conference. I want to go to this one. You're right there. San Francisco, Red Flash, 0-3 coming this game. Delaware State Hornets, 2-1. Do the Hornets find a way to keep the magic going, get a solid FCS win? Obviously, we talked about St. Francis moving to Division III, so you can see that in terms of the record. But these are the type of games that you need to win. You need to win solidly. Do you think Delaware State is going to find a way to keep that going, 80 Drew?
Yeah. I mean, for everything that Delaware State has done thus far this year, if you lose to a team that's transitioning down to Division III, all the credit we've given them thus far this year goes right out the window. I see Delaware winning by 3 touchdowns in this game minimum.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Charles, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, this the old game where you remember a big kid Ernie Ladd. He used to throw you up against the ropes and put that big boot up in there. You run into that. That's what St. Francis has to see going into this Delaware State game. You got to see that ground and pound running game that they have. Marquise Gillis and James Jones both have proven themselves to be stalwarts in the MEAC with what they've done over the first couple of games. And, you know, Delaware State, they got to avenge this 28-17 loss from last year. Like you said, AD, they're transitioning down. You got to punch them in the mouth this weekend. I expect Delaware State to keep things going.
Since we did one for the MEAC, let's do one for the SWAC, and then we'll take a next break and have a couple of games in the next segment to close things out. Let's go to that game with Grambling. Southland SWAC. It is East Texas A&M Lions 0-2. Grambling, top 10 team essentially, receiving votes outside of that 7. They're the first team out of that. They sit at 1-1 in terms of that matchup.
2-1.
Grambling beat East 2-1. Thank you. That's why they're top 8. East Texas A&M. Grambling beat East Texas A&M last year on the road. It was a thriller in terms of they were losing early, came back, got the running game, got it going. People are trying to figure out where Grambling is. Obviously, they did what they were supposed to do to Langston. They did what a lot of people thought was going to happen to them against the number 1 team, Ohio State, that won a championship last year. Yeah, Ohio State has a different quarterback, but they defeated Texas. Now, people question how big that win is maybe now in terms of how Texas playing. That's a different question. We're focusing on here in terms of SWAC. Can Grambling get it right? Can they get this done? Charles.
They better get it done, or you're gonna get those dear Mickey Joseph letters. So I think this is.
And he go with the ledge.
Hey,
I was gonna ask you in the band segment. I ain't get you there. I tried to let you off the ledge, but you already put people on the bed.
Nah.
I was gonna say, do we get band directors on the ledge? Do we get? I know we got band fans on the ledge. But
you know what? We got Boombox next week. It might be some ledge people next week. So we're going to sit back and see. But huge game for Grambling. Which Zayden set do we get? Because I think the key to him being an effective quarterback, and I mean, it's kind of cliche to say it, but protecting the football. I think that's going to be huge for Grambling in this football game. But I will go with the G-Men at home, 23-20.
Good stuff. AD Drew, go ahead.
Grambling could win this game this week, and I still would not be able to tell you anything about them because right now, coming into this game, I really have no data points to look at Grambling and compare them. You beat an NAIA, you lost to the then number 1 team in the nation, and then you beat a Division II. Somebody tell me where I've got some data points up in here at. I don't know. And the Division II, the only data point I really have is OT. That you went to OT against a Division II team. So that's gonna weigh negative when I actually go to evaluate Grambling. So Dr. Cavil, I can't really tell you what the Grambling supposed to win this game, but not supposed to win this game. Grambling might be fool's gold, or they may be the SWAC West champions in waiting. We don't know. And we still won't know after this game, Dr. Cavil.
Yeah.
It's good stuff. It means you won't get your first real data point till they play in the State Fair Classic.
Doc, you can't really get a data point until you get to that second, third game. Right now, Grambling has done an extended preseason as far as I'm concerned.
There you go. Great points made by both of you all in that segment. Let's take our last break, and then we'll come back on the other side and talk about a couple of more matchups. We'll give some love to the mid-majors. And then we'll have some final games of the major division that we want you to discuss. We'll be right back after this last break.
You're looking for the latest information on Southern University sports, the Southwestern Athletic Conference, and HBCU athletics. There's only one place to go. Tune in to the Carlos Brown Show, exclusively on the Black College Sports Network.
Planning an event? From weddings to corporate functions, CMJ Events LLC brings over 15 years of experience to make your vision a reality. Based in Metro Atlanta and serving statewide, even internationally, we provide versatile event planning and authentic catering cuisines tailored to your needs. Whether it's pre-game meals for student athletes, fundraisers, weddings, corporate functions, CMJ Events LLC is your one-stop solution for exceptional service and unforgettable food. Our diverse culinary heritage means we cater to all cultural tastes, dietary needs, and food restrictions, making every meal uniquely yours. Let's make your next event unforgettable. Visit us on all social media at CMJ Events LLC or email us at cmjeventsllc@gmail.com. Also give us a call at 404-664-3882 so that we can start planning now.
College football fans, a champion will rise in Atlanta on December 13th. MEAC champion, SWAC champion, the 10th Cricket Celebration Bowl, crowning an HBCU national champion. For event and ticket information, visit thecelebrationbowl.com.
Since 2002, Empowerment Resources, Inc., a nonprofit organization, has empowered more than 1,500 youth and adults in Duval and surrounding counties through its programs Journey into Womanhood, Girls Mentoring, Life Skills for Teens, and parenting education coaching. To get involved with programs, volunteer, or donate, visit www.empowermentresourcesinc.org. Follow us on social media, facebook.com/empowerment.resources and instagram.com/empowermentJAX.
For over 30 years, HBCU Image has been more than just an apparel store. We've been a movement, a statement, a legacy. We celebrate the pride, the purpose, and the culture that make historically black colleges and universities legendary. HBCU Image, a Kenny T's company.
ESPN Events presents Red Lobster Band of the Year. Returning to Atlanta on December 12th, 4 bands will qualify for the big stage, where 2 national champions will be crowned. Follow us for rankings updates throughout the season, and join us on December 12th. For event and ticket information, visit bandoftheyear.com.
Compress the analytic data with your hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they wanna lose, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
This is Dr. Cavil with Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Charles Bishop and A.D. Drew. The professors are in the building. Let's get into this matchup. I want to go back to that Lane versus A&M, SIAC SWAC. We have a couple of those this weekend. We won't rehash the big one out there that a lot of people are looking at, because we did that Tuesday, which was a breakdown, if you would, in terms of Edward Water Tigers and Bethune-Cookman Wildcats. That is a number 1 team. Edward Water is going in there to face Bethune-Cookman, where Coach Jenkins goes back to his stomping grounds when he really did well with the Wildcats. But I want to go with this Lane Dragons 0-2 coming in to the road to go to Alabama A&M, the number 5 Bulldogs. Before we get into that, since we're talking about SIAC, A.D. Drew, do we got an update in terms of the Tuskegee game? Or Charles, do you want to give an update?
Oh, yeah, for still 14-7 Tuskegee on top of Benedict. And I tell you what, man, Hall is the truth. He's out there making plays left and right. So 14-7 Tuskegee on top of Benedict. Yeah.
Right. You know what's impressive about that though? You would think Tuskegee coming off of a short week after playing the FCS would be down in this game early. So it's really impressive right now that Tuskegee is actually coming out and balling in this particular game.
Great points. Good stuff. Charles, any Bulldogs gonna have any problems with the Dragons?
Nah, too much Cornelius Brown. I mean, he's flinging the ball around all over the place. And, yeah, they could put up a 40 burger on this one.
Drew, you specialize at the mid-major level. You know, we got one. You called it last week, Kentucky State. Going in there and giving problems with Grambling. That was certainly the case there. Anything to this Lane Dragons, Alabama A&M Bulldogs?
3s or 4s will be playing for the Bulldogs. That's the
Hey, I tried to give some mid-major setup matchups there. But let's get back into it and get to some of these other major division games. Let's go to Prairie View. Let's go to Texas. We have Northwestern State coming in, the Demons, 1-2, 1-0. Fascinating in terms of this matchup in many different ways. First, Prairie View's top 10 program in terms of the third team receiving votes out of the top 7 in the poll rankings. They come in 1-2, 1-0. They lost 2 straight. A lot of people are upset to some degree in terms of what they weren't able to get done against Rio Grande Valley. This is another chance to take on the Southland team. Also, this is a Northwestern State team that defeated Alcorn State to open it up. Charles, you kind of teased this coming out of Sunday in terms of what needs to take place in the game. So I'm going to let you see if anything has changed for you. Are you still on that framework?
I'm still on that. Still in that framework. Prairie View got to hold up for the SWAC West and get that lick back. Alcorn got to, Daddy, can you help us on this one? So I gotta take Prairie View for the win on that one.
Drew, talking about Daddy, can you help us? What are your thoughts in terms of Northwestern State, the Demons versus the Panthers?
Look, Prairie View need to get the what's the word I'm looking for? Just to get swag back for the SWAC after what Alcorn did against this same team. I mean, dang, they won a game in the month of Sundays, as the old folks used to say. So we need Prairie View to come on back and restore SWAC pride in this particular ball game.
Good stuff, good stuff. With that being said, I'm going to kind of give you a wild card. We've got all the games that we're going to break down in terms of the sheet here so we can go back to a full screen, if you would, in terms of what that looks like. Let me ask you from that perspective, Charles, what's a wild card game that you have this weekend there?
For me, it's definitely Edward Waters and Bethune. I'm a little lightweight nervous about this one for Bethune. You would expect Lightning not to strike in the same place twice in terms of they lost that contest last year to Clark. But the way Edward Waters is playing, and it's impressive in that, Brian Jenkins came to lead this team late in the process. But he and Eric Dooley and Noah Biden, they got this team playing some pretty good football. They're undefeated on the season, and they take a lot of confidence over there to Daytona. So, I'm a little nervous for Bethune, but I just feel like I don't know. Whether it's right or wrong, they were able to put up 28 points in the fourth quarter last week, and I think offensively they got something going with change of the quarterback. So I think I got to go with Bethune-Cookman in this.
Good stuff, good stuff. Drew, what is your wild card for this week? What direction you want to go?
I want to go to my schedule that won't pull up. That's where I want to go, but it's not pulling up, so I can look at some of these.
I know you got a couple of conference games. One in the CIAA is interesting, maybe in terms of the Virginia Union matchup with Johnson C. Smith. That's measuring stick based on what we ranked them. That's 2 versus 3. Obviously, you have another top 10 matchup in terms of Winston-Salem State.
Yep.
Virginia State. We go mid-major from the CIAA perspective, and then we want to see any SIAC games beside the one that many people are going to be able to finish and check out tonight. Drew,
I've got 2 games that I want to look at.
Okay.
Out of the SIAC, one being the Fort Valley State Delta State game, non-conference matchup between the Gulf South and the SIAC. We saw what Fort Valley did last Thursday, and Fort Valley coming off the mini bye. You play Thursday, you get the weekend off, so that's an extended bye, and a Gulf South conference that only has 4 teams. So measuring stick opportunity for the SIAC to say we deserve an extra position when it comes to the Division II playoffs. So Fort Valley needs to pick up the win for the conference. The other one that kind of intrigues me is Clark Atlanta and Allen. Clark Atlanta, who has not been the dominant team that we saw last year, has, sorry, Teddy, been a little underwhelming this year due to the expectations that a Teddy Keaton coach team has put up in the past. Not saying that they're a bad team, but compared to other Teddy Keaton teams, this team has not done the things on the offensive side of the ball that previous Teddy Keaton teams have done. And the Allen team, despite its record, who has been overachieving and competing, and a team who will be at home. So, if there's a recipe for an upset, in the SIAC, that would be the one that I would keep an eye on.
Good stuff. Charles, I want you to give me some thoughts. You kind of shook your heads at those matchups in the CIAA. Let me know your thoughts in terms of Virginia Union, Johnson C. Smith, Virginia State, Winston-Salem State. Both of those are solid conference matchups. Obviously, a little different than usually when you have to boil it down with it not counting for the Virginia schools essentially in the race. But it's extremely important then for Johnson C. Smith and Winston-Salem State from the other perspective. Where are you with those two matchups?
Yeah, I mean, I tell you, Edward Waters put a chick in armor, if you will, for Virginia Union. I got an opportunity to kind of watch them a little bit, and I feel really good with Johnson C. Smith in terms of the way they've looked thus far. They could hang another loss on Virginia Union. Defensively, I had some issues. I did not expect Edward Waters to do what they did to Virginia Union. I think going back to that pick that week, I thought Virginia Union's defense would be able to stymie Edward Waters. So for that reason, I like Johnson C. Smith's running game, and I like their ability to stop Virginia Union's running game. Although Curtis Allen he's low to bring down, but I think Johnson C. Smith can get it done this weekend.
Good stuff. Good stuff. I think those two matchups are fascinating to me in terms of what goes on there. So really intrigued of what to take place. Next week, though, I know we don't like to look too far ahead, but next week it gets real interesting. So kind of tease that out. I can't wait to Sunday after we get past all this other good stuff, right? We'll obviously need to check it out. We'll get to talk about the top 7 in terms of the weekend, but now that top 7 starts to form, and it's going to get even more importantly in terms of the top 7, because for the SWAC, you start to get in the SWAC play. You got 5 big matchups that first weekend, really 6, in terms of the weekend. It's going to be fascinating. Jackson State, Southern, FAMU, Alabama State. It's some really good State Fair Classic. You got some games.
Circle City Classic.
Circle City Classic, thank you, in terms of what that looks like. So it's going to be big that weekend. So I'll just kind of tease that out. So y'all be ready for Sunday.
Ledge activity next Sunday. Yeah.
Somebody need to go get the buoy
the earthquake
so they can throw it into the water.
Exactly. Good stuff. Well, that'll do it for us today. Thank you for listening to Inside the HBCU Sports Lab. Make sure you share our podcast with your friends and colleagues. I am Dr. Cavil, the Dean of HBCU Sports, coming from inside the lab in the College of HBCU Sports with Mike Washington, Charles Bishop, A.D. Drew. Again, thank you for listening to Dr. Cavil's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington, Charles Bishop every Tuesday and Thursday, 6 o'clock Central Standard Time. We'll be back Sunday at 9 a.m. giving you a breakdown. Follow me, Dr. Cavil, on Threads, Facebook, and Instagram. That's DrKenyattaCavil, Inside the HBCU Sports Lab 1 on Facebook, Inside the HBCU Sports Lab on YouTube. Charles, any final updates you want to give the folks on the Tuskegee game?
Yeah, 9:14 left here in the second quarter. Tuskegee up 17-7 with Benedict driving. They're now in Tuskegee territory.
Fascinating. One to keep your eyes on. Make sure you put it up there. So far, so good. Dream big. Continue to move forward. We will talk with you soon. I'm finna go try it out and make sure. Well, not try out. I had them all the time. It's time for me to go get some Baltimore cuisine.
There it is.
It's time to get it in. With that being said, Charles.
Of course.
Drew.
Lecture.
Crab cakes. Dismiss.